Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is 2/3 are part of the problem, not the solution. 2/3 are part of the problem, not the solution. And pretty much this title came through the inspiration of a video I was watching earlier. Elder Apostle Tahar did the latest video he did. Can't think of the name right now, but I'm going to his page. He will be with us in famine. And pretty much, you know, as I was listening to it, he mentioned something about the 2/3. And immediately the thought came to my mind that the 2/3, you know, are part of the problem, not part of the solution. And if they're part of the problem and not part of the solution, that means the Most High is going to destroy them and get rid of them. So our main concern should be with the righteous being delivered, because 2/3 are already given over into the hands of Satan, and there's nothing that anyone can do to stop that, because they're already destined for destruction. That's why these unity camps that are trying to wake up all Israel and bring all Israel under one banner are going off, because they're not serving Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. They're serving their own belly, because they're not doing the things that are favorable in the sight of the Most High. The Most High already gave, you know, the number of how many Israelites are going to be destroyed, but these guys want to save all Israel. They're going to be the saviors. They're going to push Yahweh Shai out of the way, and they're going to become the saviors. You know, when the Lord already set it up, you know, and this is why the scriptures speak about those men that serve their own belly. Because at the end of the day, if we read the scriptures with understanding, and all of those camps that came out of One West, they know that 2/3 of Israel is not going to make it. As you see on the pie chart here, you have the 1/3 that are part of the elect. 33.3% of Israel will be saved, right? And then you have the 2/3, which is 66.6% of Israel shall die, and that's the bottom line. So who are you to try to change that? Because 2/3 of Israel right now, they are a part of the problem. They are not part of the solution. But the Lord got the solution for the 2/3 that are the problem. He got a solution for their problem. It's called nuclear missiles. It's called the lasers from the chariots. It's called famine. It's called distress. It's called the sword. It's called wild beasts. It's called madmen sparing none. You know, the sword of the Lord, which is Esau. So the Lord got their number, you know, because right now they are the enemies. They're not helping to build this nation. They're helping to destroy it. And every time you have something going on with Jake trying to come together somehow, some way, you know, especially now that the truth is out, you always have some Sambo, some sellout that's always trying to disrupt and destroy, you know, the unity of Israel, of the elect, waking back up. You know, you have it among the Southern Kingdom leaders, and you have it among the Northern Kingdom leaders. You know, always set up to be a pacifist, a pacifier, one that leads his people into a smoking building. You know, he lit the building on the other end with a match. He leads the people in, throws a match behind him, sets a house on fire, and then everybody gets caught up in there. He's running down the street, go to the next bunch of suckers he could deceive. And there's always been Jake that destroyed Jake, because Esau cannot take Jake down by himself. That's why you had the scouts among Gad that helped take him down. You had sellouts among, the leaders of Ephraim and the other tribes. You had the buffalo soldiers. They were the ones that pretty much, them and the Gatling gun were the ones that was, and the scouts were the ones responsible for bringing Gad down. And that was, all ordained by the Most High, that the troop shall overtake him. Nevertheless, 2/3 are part of the problem, not the solution. So the Lord speaks of these things. But these guys, obviously, they're either not reading, or the elevator does not go all the way to the top floor. Or maybe they fear that they're part of the 2/3. Maybe that's why they want to love the 2/3. I don't know their reasoning. I'm not in their head, but I could only gather, from my understanding of why they would be so adamant to try to fight for the 2/3 when the 2/3 don't give a fuck about none of us. They don't give a fuck about themselves. But anyway, 2 Ezra 9:7, and everyone that shall be saved shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, because it's a combination of the two, whereby you have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, because perilous times are approaching. They're here, but it's going to get a lot worse. We're just seeing the beginning stages of it. It says, and shall see my salvation in my land. Why? Because the Lord is coming back to deliver the 1/3, the elect, and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. So you have to remember that there has been a predestination for the Israelites that are part of the elect. This is not a thing of you jump up now and all of a sudden now you can get down with the program. It doesn't work that way. Let's go real quick first to Romans chapter 9 verse 15. For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it's not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of the Most High that showeth mercy. So the Lord is showing the mercy to the elect by giving them the gift of deliverance, the gift of faith. Ephesians 2:8, for by grace are you saved through faith. And that not of yourselves, it is the gift of the Most High, not of works, lest any man should boast. Right? Because it ain't who has the most works. It's about being a part of the elect that was given that gift. But at the same time, we still have to do the work. Because the works, the combination of the works with the faith is what's going to deliver us if we're part of the elect. Ephesians 1:4, according as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world. So this predestination has taken place before the world was even created, before the light was put together, before the atmosphere, before the ozone layer, before the earth, before the waters, before the animals and people and trees and fruits and all that. It was already in the works back then, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. Why? Because the only reason we can be that way is if we're part of the elect, having predestinated us unto the adoption of children by Yahushua to himself, because it is impossible for us to reach righteousness, to please the Most High by the ways of the works of the flesh, by the keeping of the law. It's impossible. Nevertheless, we still try to keep the law to the best of our ability, because that is a part of the faith. It says, according to the good pleasure of his will. So Yahushua adopted us to the Father by his blood. That was the adoption. It was according to the pleasure, the good pleasure of the Most High, of the Most High's will. So if it's the Most High's will to save 1/3 and destroy 2/3, there's nothing that anyone can say about that. There shouldn't be any rebuttal or talking back or, yeah, I understand it, but no, ain't no buts, if, ands, or any of that shit. It's the Most High's way or the highway, because his counsel is what stands. To the praise of the glory of his grace, wherein he hath made us accepted in the beloved. So we are accepted in the Lord because of the beloved, Yahushai. And that's how the elect are accepted in the sight of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Through Yahushai, who gave the greatest sacrifice that one could ever give, which was his life, so that we could be joint heirs with him. All right? It says, wow, I got to read this. In whom we have redemption through his blood. And that's the only reason. The forgiveness of sins according to the riches of his grace, the riches of the graces of the Most High, who sent his only begotten Son, his beloved, to suffer these things. And it pleased the Lord to bruise him for our iniquities, wherein he hath abounded toward us in all wisdom and prudence, because Yahushai, his sacrifice, through the grace of the Most High, through the will of the Most High, was the one that made us to abound in wisdom, in prudence, in this knowledge that we have, having made known unto us the mystery of his will. See, because we understand fully what's going on. We understand that the Lord is going to destroy this world, Esau's world, and he's going to deliver his elect. And we understand that the Lord works on the right hand and on the left hand. We know that the Most High creates good, he creates evil. You know, we know that the council in the heavens, you have the righteous angels on the right side and the wicked angels on the left side. We know that the Lord is coming back to destroy Esau and the other nations and take their kingdoms down and put them nations into slavery. See, we know the whole thing. And we know that when Yahushua came on the scene, he only came on the scene to deliver the nation of Israel. And in that, we know that 1/3 of the nation of Israel is going to make it and 2/3 is not going to make it, being the so-called Negros, Latinos, and Native American Indians. It says, according to his good pleasures, which he hath purposed in himself, that in the dispensation of the fullness of times, he might gather together in one all things in Yahushai. So the things that are in Yahushai, that is doing the will of Yahushai, which is doing the will of the Father, are going to be gathered to Yahushai in those barns, you know, in those chambers, which are the chariots, or the chariot, both which are in heaven and which are on earth, even in him, because the ones that died in the work that are in the heavens now will be the first ones to come out of the graves and beam right into the chariots. How about that? In whom also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestinated according to the purpose of him who worketh all things after the counsel of his own will. But these guys, no, I understand that, but no, man, no buts. You're serving your own belly. You're trying to inject your belief and your doctrine into the truth. You can't do that. That's why a lot of you guys are trying to gather all of Israel. The Lord ain't trying to gather all of Israel. Our job is to teach the word, and the ones that are part of the elect, when the word hits their mind, the Most High will make that word grow, because they are part of the elect, because they were predestinated before the foundation of the earth. So they already had their reservation. All they're waiting for is the ticket. And that ticket is the word. And once the word enters into their brain, the Most High causes it to take root. And the knowledge and the wisdom, understanding, the lessons keep watering that seed so that it can sprout into a good tree. That we should be to the praise of his glory, who first trusted in Yahushai. See? So Yahushai was the first one who was entrusted with this. And the Most High, through Yahushai, gave it to other men that were put in trust of this gospel, of this ministry. And those that believe it, that hear it out in the streets, will be delivered. That's what the Lord said. It pleased the Lord by the foolishness of preaching to save them which believe. See? So now let's go back. 2nd Ezra 9:9. Then shall they be in pitiful case. So now as the elect are being sanctified, are being sealed, are being prepared for glory, are being readied for what's coming, are being groomed to meet the bridegroom. the rest of the 2/3, it says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways. Because there is an abuse of the Lord's ways. And the majority of abuse that came of the Lord's way was through something called plantation Christianity. That did away with the Most High's laws so that everyone can be in that do as thou wilt spirit. As Elder Menata Zakba did a lesson on that filthy bird, that filthy reprobate that he had on there. That is a total reprobate spirit, to be able to say some shit like that and not have an ounce of shame. Hey, the scriptures say that Lot was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. This guy is a total reprobate. It says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways. And they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. Because there's going to be, you know what I'm saying? People think that the Most High is a joke. He just lets people go and do what they got to do. But after a while, you got to pay, man. And we're coming to those times where punishments are going to be meted out. We're in the sentencing stage. Next comes what? They have to do the time. And that time is going to come in many different forms, depending on what the Lord had already meted out to each individual person out there that are part of the 2/3. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me, and they that have loathed my law. You could do whatever you want. You could pop a man in the ass if you feel like it. You can have him top you off. You can, pop a trainee in the ass if you feel like it. You can do this. You could do that. You can get with a married woman. You could commit adultery. All you want, man. They got to pay for that because they're loathing the Most High. Or you can eat whatever you want. If I want to eat a lobster tail sandwich, I'm going to eat it. That's the mentality of them. That dickhead, Boosie, whatever the hell his name is, gave the Most High the finger. Said, F you. Now I'm going to eat what I'm hungry. These people loathe the Most High's laws. And they will pay for that. While they had yet liberty, because they still have the liberty, it says, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them. How long, ye simple ones, will you love simplicity? There's a reproof going on out there. Because the Most High is telling you something. That he's about to do some serious business. He's about to put in some work on this earth. He's about to put in work on each of the nations and 2/3 of you so-called Negros, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which are the Israelites. So while you have the time of repentance, the prophets out on the streets still teaching. In the midst of this madness that's going on, the prophets are still out there teaching, whether they can physically be out on the streets or not. Still doing their lessons, their live shows, whatever the case is. Pushing his word. Understood not, but despised it. So they don't understand these reproofs and what the Lord is doing. Still having the door of repentance open slightly, because it's almost shut. The same must know it after death by pain, because every time these 2/3 come back, they're going to come back in their situation is not going to be good. Just like the scriptures spoke about the different kinds that were going to be meted out to each Jake out there. You're going to have wild beasts. You're going to have famine. You're going to have the sword. You're going to have captivity. There's going to be many different forms. Remember, the Most High is a king of terrors. He's the master of disaster. He will put you in a situation that you never thought was possible. But you thinking that you being slick and being the all-knowing, that you're going to slide out of the judgment of the Most High. Bunch of fools, man. The same must know it after pain by death, and therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished. And this is the point. We ain't to be curious of how the ungodly shall be punished. And the ungodly in this case being Jake. You could throw Esau in there too, but this is dealing with Jake because it's speaking about them loathing the Most High's law. And the laws were only given to the nation of Israel. And therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished and when. Because we're coming to that punishment. But inquire how the righteous shall be saved. Aha. Inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world is created. You see? So the righteous are who? The 1/3 that were predestinated by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai before the world began. Isaiah 65:11. But ye are they that forsake the Lord. And this is talking about the 2/3. The one that say you could do whatever the hell you want to do, because Esau pushed that spirit out there. That demonic do as thou wilt spirit. Whatever feels good, go ahead and do it. You know? Like that song, go on and do it till you're satisfied, whatever it is. That's a total wicked song, man. But it has a badass groove to it. Because that is part of the programming, which is music, television, movies, entertainment. It says, but ye are they that forsake the Lord, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for their troop. And you're the ones preparing the table for that troop. Who is the troop? Esau. You're preparing that table for them because you took plantation Christianity and took off running off the ground with it. You're the one that keeps pushing that bullshit out there. Here it is. You were in slavery. You got the shit beat out of you. All of the tribes. Then you take the same shit that you were indoctrinated by and you're still pushing it on your children and their children, so on and so forth. So you're preparing the table for that troop. And that furnish a drink offering unto that number. And what's that number? The 2/3. And what is a drink offering? That drink offering is this plantation Christianity and these different philosophies, religions, or whatever the case may be, that you're pushing Jake to continue to be fully engulfed in it. It says, therefore will I number you to the sword. So the Most High said he's going to number you to the sword. Let's see what the word number is. Manah, to count, reckon, number, assign. So you've been assigned a number by the Lord as a part of the 2/3. Tell, appoint, prepare. So the Lord said, therefore will I number you to the sword, because you're being disobedient. You're taking the Lord's words lightly. You're fanning your hand, you know, saying to hell with the men of the Lord that's out here warning you about what's coming. All these things happened in the past. Ain't nothing new. And if you could have seen the looks on those people's faces when they realized that what those prophets were saying was true, it was too late. It says, and you shall all bow down to the slaughter. So you're going to bow to the slaughter. There's going to be slaughter coming. This is going to be the new valley of slaughter. America. Because when I called, how did the Lord call? By his prophets. You did not answer. When I spake, you did not hear. But did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. So you're choosing the things that the Most High doesn't delight in. You're saying that the laws are done away with. You're eating and having sex with whoever you want to have sex with. There's no buffers there. There's no, boundaries. And this is the straight up product of this devil's witchcraft that he pushes out there through these movies and all this different other type of entertainment. Because that's shameful speaking, man. That should not come out of a man's mouth. That filth that dude was talking about. Hosea 6:5. Therefore have I hewed them by the prophets, and this is the mouth of the Lord. I have slain them by the words of my mouth, and thy judgments are as a light that goeth forth. But what happens? This reproval is going out. These judgments are going out. Seeing things happening all around the world. There's different uproars and all that. Famines approaching. And yet they still don't consider it. Zephaniah 3:5. This just Lord is in the midst thereof, because everything you see going on is of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. Every morning. There's always something happening. He faileth not. Why? Because none of these shall fail. None of the prophecies written in the scriptures are going to fail. But the unjust knoweth no shame. So the unjust, which is Jake, the 2/3, they know no shame. They're not remorseful or sorry for the things that they've done and the things that they do. And that's going to be their own undoing. That's why 2/3 are part of the problem, not the solution. Let's read that again. The just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. I forgot the precept, but the Spirit just told me read it again. And I did. And Isaiah 34:16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read, because you have many books out there that are being pushed on who the Most High is, what the Most High is about, what his son is about. But everything is found right in the scriptures. You don't need no other book to explain what the scriptures are saying. No one of these shall fail, meaning the prophecies that are written in this book are not going to fail. None shall want her mate, because you can't mate this book with any other book. For my mouth it hath commanded. The Most High's mouth commanded it and gave it to who? To the prophets. And his spirit it hath gathered them. It says, and he hath cast the lot for them. For who? For the prophets. They have their lot. They have the certain words that the Lord is going to put in each prophet's mouth to speak the judgments that they have to say. And his hand hath divided it unto them by line, because each individual prophet has a certain amount of this word that was given to them. And you could go through the prophets of the Old Testament, the different books that were given. Some were given more, some were given less. Nevertheless, they are all important. They shall possess it forever, from generation to generation shall they dwell therein, because the prophets will never lose their position. They will never lose this word, because they are the prophets. Isaiah 55 and 11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. Why? Because it is the counsel of the Lord, and the counsel of the Lord will stand. Now let's go from there to Zechariah 13 and 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the 3rd shall be left therein. So let's look up this word, 2/3. 2, which is Shanyam, number 2. Second, all right, let's go to parts. 2 parts. Pa, which is mouth. Mouth of man, mouth as an organ of speech, mouth of animals, mouth, opening, office, extremity, and a weight equal to 1/3 of a shekel occurs only in 1 Samuel 13:21. So it's a weight. So the parts, the 2/3 or 2 parts, are talking about what? The ones that are weighed in the balance of the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, which equals to 66.6%, which is the number of the beast. And the 2/3 are going to take that chip. So let's read that again. And it shall come to pass in all the land, this is dealing with America, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the 3rd shall be left therein. This is why we have the chart, the 1/3 and the 2/3. 1/3 will be saved, 2/3 will be cut off. And I will bring the 3rd part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, because this is why the elect are going to go through this hell, because it's a refining, because the world is condemned. That's why the world is not getting plagued and not getting I shouldn't say plagued, but not getting chastised, because their judgment is already set, and will try them as gold is tried. And that's why the elect are going through what they're going through, and they're going to go through more. They shall call on my name, but the elect are going to be straight though. They shall call on my name. So how are they going to call on the Lord's name if the Lord didn't give the name? and I will hear them. See? Why? Because that is how the Lord set it up. And when you go back during the time of King Solomon, one of his prayers was, whatever situation we find ourselves in, if we turn to the Lord and call on his name, he will come and deliver us. And I will hear them, and I will say, this is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my power. But the 2/3 of Israel, the Lord already, casted them off. But they'll come back in the kingdom. They'll be all right in the kingdom when they come back as newborn babies, and they'll be perfect when they come back. And this is a mystery, man. The world doesn't know that. So Barakatah Yahweh Shem El Shai for revealing that to us. So I want to read this part again in 2nd Ezra 9 and 13. And therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world is created. So just remember, brothers, 2/3 are part of the problem, not the solution. So with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. Until the next time I say Shalom, and Shalom to the Akim and the Akwath on the comment boards, the sincere among you. May the Spirit continually bless and abound with you. Shalom. And this is why we have the chart, the 1/3 and the 2/3. 1/3 will be saved, 2/3 will be cut off. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, because this is why the elect are going to go through this hell, because it's a refining.